Okay, if you had houseplants outside over the summertime and you brought them in, or if you're lucky enough to have not been hit by a frost and you're thinking about bringing your houseplants inside, you're going to want to pay attention to this video. Okay, many of us have had houseplants outside over the summertime, and are now thinking about bringing them inside because it's getting cold out there and we don't want them to die from the frost. That's an excellent thing to do, but there are a few cautions that you want to take to make sure that they thrive on the indoor conditions. First thing you want to be paying attention to is insects. Insects are not, you got to think of it this way. When the plants are outside, the weather is conducive for the plants and not the insects. The insects are getting rained on, they have predators, and it's just cold out and they're not multiplying very fast. The minute you bring these houseplants inside, it only takes a few insects to now the tables are turned. The weather is conducive for the insect and not the plant. And so the insects start flourishing. So notoriously, by the end of December, early January, I'll have customers coming in saying, something wrong with my plants. They're infected with spider mites, mealybugs, aphids. And the reason was they had them outside all summer long. There was a few of them on there. And as soon as they brought inside, 1 became 2, 2 became 4, 4 became 8. And then next thing you know, by the time end of December, January kicks around, the holidays have passed, we actually stop paying attention to our plants again. And they're just webbing all over them and they're infested. And so taking a few tricks now to put some effort into preventing that problem, you can use a lot less treatments, a lot less chemicals, and have a much more success at doing so. Okay, so when we're bringing the plants inside, the first thing I do is I start looking for, do I see any? Is the plant dirty? Is there any visible insects on it? If there's not, then I'm typically reaching for a product called Insecticidal Soap. And there's lots of makes and models out there. Some people will even make their own. Basically what it is a soapy-like substance that you're going to spray all over the plant, top, bottom, especially under the leaves. Most insects, we spray from the top and the chemicals or treatments come down. But most of the insects know that. And so they hide underneath. They also know that predators, when they're flying around, if they see them up on the surface, they're going to come down and eat them. So they like to hide. So spray down the top, the underneath, everything, and just soak that down. What it's going to do is it's not a true poison. It's just going to smother the insects and make them suffocate. So it's a very safe product to use. I use it. It's one of the few things I do use for indoors. And but it is so mild that it's not the most effective. So it's good to knock things down a little bit, but it's not going to eradicate problems like spider mites, mealybugs. If you have the patience to do it, every day, every other day, diligently, you probably can control some of those tougher insects. But to me, Insecticidal Soap is just a quick knockdown, and it's really just intended to minimize the population of insects that are on there. Remember, right now, we're trying to kill just a handful of insects so that we stop there from being thousands later, because they grow exponentially. So hit it with Insecticidal Soap, wash the plant off, hit it with Insecticidal Soap, then you're good to go. Now, the next product I use is a true conventional insecticide. This one is conveniently called Systemic Insect Control. And we do try to stock this. Again, there's multiple brands out there. But what a systemic insecticide means is that you're going to put a small amount of chemical into the plant. The plant is then going to suck that chemical up and disperse it amongst the entire foliage everywhere inside the tissues of the plant. So all these little nooks and crannies where insects would typically hide, we're going to turn around by using this product. We can just put it down in the soil, and you do want to protect it. So what I typically do is to scrape some of the soil back, put the appropriate amount inside there. They all have instructions on them that says how big of a pot dictates how many tablespoons of product to use, but bury it. So it is an insecticide. It is relatively mild. And but I treat everything as if it's toxic. So if I have pets, cats, dogs that may get around these areas, dig the soil up, pour it down into the hole, and then bury it. It's a nice little trick I found to make sure that nobody becomes exposed to it. Even though it's mild, I still treat it as if it's toxic. And so, but that's what I found to work best. Those two things put together work extremely well at knocking down insects and preventing a bigger problem from later. And you could probably get away with just 1 or 2 treatments now and be clear for the winter. Because if you eradicate the insects going into your house before they become a problem, you use a fraction of the chemicals later. Hope that helps. Take care.